Good evening, class. Welcome to Math with Mrs. Albright. And tonight we have Module 1, Lesson number 7. And our objective is to round multi-digit numbers to any place value. So make sure you have your scratch paper or your whiteboard, and let's get started. Yesterday we practiced learning how to round numbers to the nearest thousands. And this number, 72,744, has 72 thousands. So I would have put 72,000 at the bottom of my number line, 73,000 at the top, and then come up with the midpoint. Today, we are going to round to a larger place value. We are going to round to the nearest 10,000s. And if I look at this number, I can see that there is a value of 70 thousands in that tens place. So here, how many 10,000s are in this number? There are 7 10,000s. And then I can ask myself, what is 1,000 more, or 1 10,000 more than that? And that would be 8 10,000s. So when I write those in number form, this would be 70 thousands, and this would be 80,000. My midpoint, halfway between 7 10,000s and 8 10,000s, would be 75,000. So now when I look at this number, I ask myself, is 72,000 more or less than 75,000? And the answer is it is less. So I'm going to put that on my number line right about here, 72,744. So in this case, I would round down to 70,000 since it is below my midpoint. So here I can say 72,744 is about equal to 70,000. And that's when I'm rounding it to the nearest 10,000s. So when I look at this number, I want to find the digit that's in the 10,000s place. And in this number, it is 3. So I look at that together with the higher value, and I say that this number has 33 10,000s. 33 10,000s. And when I read that as just a regular number, we would really read that as 330,000. So you see I'm keeping that 3 in the tens place, and then I'm changing all the rest of this to 0 because that is the closest 10,000, 330,000. What is 1 10,000 more than that? Well, that would be 34 10,000s. And when I write that as a number, 340,000. So to find the midpoint, I'm going to look at this 340,000, 330,000, ask myself what's halfway between there, and the answer is 335,000. Now I can compare this number to my midpoint and ask myself, is it larger or smaller? Well, 337,000 is larger than 335,000. So I would mark this number about here on our place value chart. So in this case, I would round up to 340,000 because it is greater than my midpoint. So I will say 337,601 is about equal, I'll rewrite that, 340,000. Now let's say I want to round to an even higher place value. Here we are going to round the number to the nearest 100,000s. So I'm going to be looking at the 100,000s place in my place value chart. In this case, the digit in the hundreds thousands column is 7. So this number has 700,000s. What is 100,000 more than that? Well, that would be 800,000. And now I want to determine what is halfway between 700,000 and 800,000. If I just look here at the 70,000s and the 80,000s, I can say, well, 75,000 or 750,000 thousandths would be the midpoint. Now this is very close to my midpoint. This is 749 thousandths. So that is just below my midpoint on this number line. So in that case, I would round down to 700,000. So I would say 749,085 is about equal to 700,000. Now what we're going to talk about is why we might want to round numbers to different place values. So here I have this number 193,841. We are going to round this number 3 different ways. We are going to round it to the thousands on this first number line. We are going to round it to the nearest 10 thousandths on this second number line. And we are going to round it to the nearest 100 thousandths on this number line. And we are going to see what these different numbers or answers that we get up with look like and why we might choose to round to one place value over another. So here, if I am rounding to the nearest thousandths place, I'm going to start with that one. I have 3 thousandths, or altogether I have 193 thousandths. So my end point on this number line is 193,000. And what is 1,000 more than that? 194,000. My midpoint is 193,500. If I look at this number, 193,800, I know that on this number line, it would be closer to 194,000. So I would put 193,841 would round up to 194,000. Now I'm going to switch gears and we're going to use the second number line to round it to the nearest 10 thousandths place. So here I have a 9 in the 10 thousandths column. So altogether I have 19 10 thousandths, which I would write in number form as 190,000. And now what is 1/10,000 more than that? Well, 100, that 19 thousandths would go up to 20 thousandths to make this 200,000. That is 1/10,000 more. Now halfway between these would be 195,000. And we can see that 193,000 is less than 195,000. So that would be somewhere about here on my number line. 193,841. So in this case, when we're rounding to the nearest thousand, we are going to round down to 190,000. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 100 thousandths column. Here we have a 1 in the 100 thousandths place. So my bottom endpoint is going to be 100,000. What is 100,000 more than that? 200,000. What is halfway between that? 150,000. Now 193 is larger than 150. This 193,000 is much closer to the 200,000. That is going to be kind of way up here on the number line, 193,841. So in this case, we are going to round up to 200,000. So now we took the same number, 193,841, and we rounded it to the thousands, to the 10 thousandths, and the 100 thousandths. And we got 3 different answers. When it's rounded to the nearest thousand, it's 194,000. Rounded to the nearest 10,000, it's 190,000. And rounded to the nearest 100,000, it's 200,000. Which one of these is closest to the actual number? And the answer is when we round it to the thousands. The reason is this is going to be a more precise rounding or estimation because we are rounding to a smaller place value. It's going to be closer to the actual number. And in class, we will talk about why we might need to round to a smaller place value versus a larger place value depending on the problem that we're trying to solve. For your quiz, I would like you to take this number, 767,074, and you are going to round it 3 different ways. You are going to round it to the thousands place. Here we have 7 thousandths. You are going to round it to the 10 thousandths place for B, and you are going to round it to the 100 thousandths place for problem C. Please bring any questions you have back to class, and I look forward to continuing to work with you on this and to practice. Have a great night.